March Madness, two words that get hoop fans more excited than saying Game 7. As we all clamor to CBS Sports, ESPN, and other platforms to fill out our brackets, it is a time that we all look forward to. If you're like me, you mostly follow the blue blood colleges and maybe your home state conference, ACC in my book, but for the most part, there's so much college basketball, it's almost impossible to follow and have knowledge on every single possible school that could break into the tourney. Either way, we do our research, fill out our brackets, and sit and watch teams you've likely never heard of or seen tackle major players in the game and hope to see at least one or two Cinderella stories. If this year is anything like last year, we'll be seeing quite a few come Thursday and Friday. Simply put, March Madness is always a spectacle, and even with record lows in ratings last year for the men, sidebar, the women had a record high last year and will probably follow that up this year with more as they have established some must-watch players in the last few years. The men drew 14.69 million viewers with UConn and San Diego State in the finals, but even with that drop in ratings, it is more than any NBA Finals game has garnered since 2019. Ouch. So this is where my topic comes in today. What can the NBA learn from college basketball, and most importantly, March Madness, to rival even their lowest ratings?
But YouTube, before I get into that, please like and subscribe to the channel. Everything helps, and we're trying to reach that 1,000 sub goal. So thank you guys. And also, if you enjoy podcasts, and we all do, check out the GOATcast podcast on my second channel. Link will be in the description. Myself and Big Nige talk about all things NBA, past, present, and even future. So check that out. Thank you.
Let's be real. Unless you're from the state, go to the school, or know someone going there, have you honestly ever heard of Florida Atlantic University? How about McNeese or James Madison University? Yes, those are actual schools, and schools that will be battling the UNCs, Dukes, Kentuckys of the world. And as the tournament gets closer and closer and game days arrive, you'll learn more and more about those schools and what they can do on the court. This is where Turner Broadcast and CBS create the magic that is March Madness, and this is ultimately where the NBA could learn a thing or two. There are probably countless schools we don't know a single thing about competing in the field of 64, but by opening tip, you'll know what they do well, who to watch for, and what kind of chances they have heading into their matchup. This is where the Inside the NBA crew and even ESPN on NBA fail miserably. Understandably, the NBA is on a grander scale and the analysts assume a lot as far as their audience, so their attention to depth and detail is a lot less than those analyzing these college games. Therein lies the key. If the NBA treated all of their teams like the analysts and commentators for March Madness treat each and every team, then maybe more fans will be invested in their product and teams alike. I know there are some terrible teams in the NBA. That is a fact. There are also terrible teams or teams that have very little chance in the NCAA tournament. However, they give you details on the team, the players, the coach, some of their conference info, and ultimately what they do well and don't, and how they match up. Compare that with Charles Barkley quipping how they shouldn't even be shown certain games because of who's playing, without even giving much analysis or reason why other than the team's terrible record. But here, no matter how small the school or how low their chances, they're still treated as a worthy contender or contributor in the tournament and given serious details and breakdowns. I just think the NBA picks and chooses who we should care for. When certain teams and players, not naming them here, are in the 9th and 10th seed, while solid teams are vying for the top spot but get glossed over on television, even when they're playing the game, it doesn't give the casual fan much reason to tune in or be intrigued by their games. If you rarely talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, why should people watch in droves when they play? If they spend the time to let us know why the Charlotte Hornets have a chance of beating the Philadelphia Sixers and truly break it down, even though I already know the Hornets have very little chance, those mere extra points might entice me to sit and watch. We know we don't watch from horn to horn all the NCAA tourney games, but we at least get enough information and analysis that will go in and watch the first half or first few minutes to see if their breakdowns were factual. Imagine if the NBA took time and effort to make us care about the Denver Nuggets and how special of a team they are. Maybe, just maybe, that would have lured a few more eyeballs on those finals games. If ESPN had spent more time letting the world know how special of a player Tim Duncan was in his prime, those San Antonio Spurs runs would have been more appreciated, instead of giving players all their flowers once they've left the game. This is also where the sport becomes the star, where the NBA has shown us time and time again that the players are the stars of the product. A lot of people tune into the tournament because they know they'll get some good basketball and some maximum effort. I can't name the star player on probably 85% of the teams that will be playing in the field of 64, but I bet I'll watch close to 85% of the games and be happy doing it because I enjoy basketball being played competitively. We've discussed how much that is missing in the NBA, especially in the regular season. But as I've said in this entire section, if those presenting the games put forth more effort to make us care, even if the game is a dud, we'd at least tune in enough to say we had some interest in it. These networks put maximum effort into presenting March Madness as something special and must watch. From the lineup of analysts to the music, it's how you put a spotlight on a sport at its finest. We used to get that with the NBA. Maybe with their declining numbers and fans turning away, they'll take note this weekend on how to present your sport as not only entertainment, but bring it back to what made it great. Like the saying in boxing goes, styles make fights. I'm pretty sure I'm not alone in thinking this, but a lot of the NBA style looks the same. Spread the floor, maybe a pick and roll or ISO, lots of threes, rinse and repeat. Not saying we don't see that in college ball, but there's plenty of schools who, due to either personnel or their created system, play a completely different style than what we're accustomed to seeing based on what we see in the NBA. There are still those teams that rely on inside game. There are teams that rely on the three ball. There are teams that rely on pace to win games. This is what makes the NCAA tournament so intriguing to me. You can see a team that relies heavily on their interior offense play a three-point shooting team and see how they can go back and forth and who prevails. We can see defensive juggernauts battle offensive snipers and see which style prevails. We can possibly see the best defensive team, Houston, take on the best offensive team, UConn, and watch the magic happen. You can watch a three-point barrage from Creighton or Kentucky have to deal with a team that defends three with top efficiency like Utah State or James Madison. I'm sure some of those games won't happen, but you get what I'm saying. The NBA has fully embraced the Euro style, and it's evident in the way nearly every team plays. College ball does take elements of that, but they still seem to operate in a more old school that I and many more enjoy. As someone that lives in North Carolina, I had never even heard of Davidson College until Steph Curry and those Wildcats went on a tear in the NCAA tournament. We got to witness a different style of player and different style team all together make a run deep as more traditional teams had a hard time dealing with the firepower. This used to be the NBA. We used to have slower teams that were heavily big man reliant. We used to have teams that relied mostly on their defensive identity. We had the flashy, more fast-paced teams. We had the teams with shooters that made you defend honest. We had those well-balanced teams that could get the job done on both ends, night in and out. This made each team unique and fun to watch in big-time games and moments. Just like March Madness and college basketball. While the NBA isn't completely devoid of unique teams and styles, it just seems every team now is trying to construct their own poor man's Golden State Warriors circa 2017 through 2018, which means we get to see a lot of threes fly without the defensive prowess those Warriors teams had. While I realize that the athlete, the game, and the incentive is different in the NBA as compared to college, we can all wish the NBA players had the same passion the kids that know that college is probably their ceiling have, and these are their moments to make permanent and lasting memories. So there you have it, what the NBA could learn from March Madness. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. And as March Madness looms, who's your team in the field? And make sure you guys join our bracket pick'em so you can hang out and see who reigns supreme from the GOATcast crew. Hope you all enjoyed this content and be back soon with more.